The Senate may have to work into its recess to pass both a bipartisan infrastructure plan and a budget resolution that will allow Democrats to enact a range of priorities without Republican support. Many business and labor groups are coming together to support the bipartisan infrastructure bill. We have a ton of great news to cover in today's video. So welcome back to my channel, folks. This is your fourth stimulus check update and daily news report. I hope all of you guys are having a great day. And before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a like.
First, in the bipartisan infrastructure framework, there are a number of key pieces for our climate. The president sees this as a down payment. It has a huge investment in modernizing our electric grid. It will modernize and invest in electric vehicle charging stations across the country.
So according to CNBC, the Senate may work into its recess to pass both a bipartisan infrastructure plan and a budget resolution that will allow his party to approve a bill to address child care and climate change without Republican support. In a letter to his caucus, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said that senators are working with the White House to turn the $1.2 trillion infrastructure framework into legislation. The Senate Budget Committee is also crafting a measure that will allow Democrats to pass a sprawling child care, health care, and climate policy plan without a GOP vote. Chuck Schumer also stated, "My intention for this work period is for the Senate to consider both the bipartisan infrastructure legislation and a budget resolution with reconciliation instructions, which is the first step of passing the legislation through the reconciliation process. Please be advised that the time is of the essence and we have a lot of work to do. Senators should be prepared for the possibility of working long nights, weekends, and remaining in Washington into the previously scheduled state work period. Who do you believe is holding back our stimulus check? Is it the Democrats or the Republicans? Tell me your thoughts on this in the comments below."
So, we know we've got a problem, a major problem. We also have an incredible opportunity. We can bring back more competition to more of the country, helping entrepreneurs and small businesses get in the game, helping workers get a better deal, helping families save money every month. Good news is, we've done it before. In the early 1900s, President Teddy Roosevelt saw an economy dominated by giants like Standard Oil and J.P. Morgan's railroads. He took them on, and he won. He gave the little guy a fighting chance. Decades later, during the Great Depression,
Now the coming weeks will shape the agenda that Democratic leader, President Biden, Chuck Schumer, and Pelosi can pass before next year's midterm elections. They aim to create a stronger social safety net, jolt the post-crisis economy, and set the groundwork to curb climate change. The Democratic leaders have to balance completing interest within their party to push both huge proposals through Congress. Some liberals have criticized the lack of funding in the bipartisan plan to address the climate crisis and transition to green energy. A few centrist Democrats, led by Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, have questioned spending trillions of dollars on a Democrats-only bill. Senate Democrats cannot lose a single vote on the reconciliation bill, and a Senate split 50-50 by party. Nancy Pelosi also has to navigate a slim majority in the House. The Speaker reiterated that she wants the Senate to pass both the infrastructure plan and budget resolution and the budget reconciliation measure before the House takes up either proposal. Pelosi said, "I have said that I really cannot take up the reconciliation until we see the infrastructure, and cannot take up the infrastructure until we see the infrastructure and reconciliation addressed by the Senate." But everybody, 11 Republican senators, have supported the bipartisan plan, enough for it to pass if all Democrats get on board. But the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, has not yet endorsed the framework. A coalition of 24 business and labor groups announced Thursday that they support the $1.2 trillion infrastructure plan developed by a bipartisan group of senators and endorsed by President Biden. In a joint statement, the group said, "We urge Congress to turn this framework into legislation that will be signed into law, and our organizations are committed to helping see this cross the finish line." The organizations, which include the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, said that investing in the nation's roads, bridges, airports, and broadband infrastructure will create middle-class families sustaining jobs. Their statement also said, "Don't let partisan differences get in the way of action. Pass significant, meaningful infrastructure legislation now." President Biden announced the deal in late June, which includes $579 billion in new spending on top of previously authorized funding. The president recently had to walk back comments that he wouldn't sign a bipartisan deal if Congress didn't also send him a separate Democrats-only package of remaining priorities that they could potentially pass without Republican support. Meanwhile, conservative groups have sent a letter to GOP leaders in Congress urging them to oppose the bipartisan plan. The letter signed by the former president's advisor, Stephen Moore, among others, said that the 4 preconditions should be met before Republicans support the plan, including repurposing $2 trillion from already allocated funds this year, and not allowing any funding to go to the IRS enforcement. What do you think about this, everybody? Should Republicans support the new infrastructure plan? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. As always, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate all of your amazing support. And until next time, have a great day and stay safe.
If Congress were to pass the Duplication Scoring Act and you were requested by law to give a duplication score or information to the CBO so it can be reported with each bill, is that something you'd be physically capable of doing, your agency could do?
We could use some additional support for the Congress. As you know, we've been given vastly enhanced responsibilities under the pandemic relief packages that have been passed. But I think we can do it. We have the skilled people. We have the institutional knowledge across government and deep knowledge in programs and activities. So we can do it. We could use some support from the Congress to do it in a quick manner, Senator.
You were talking about food regulation a few moments ago. I think you said, let me see if I've got it right, 15 different agencies have, 30 different standards?
30 different laws. They're
30 different laws.
30 different laws.
For it's food regulation or food safety?
I think it's both. I have my expert, Mark Gaffigan, on the line. Mark, would you clarify for the Senator, please?
Yeah, it's food safety, and of course, the regulations part of that.
Could you repeat that for me?
You speak up, Mark?
Yes, sir. It's food safety, but the regulations is also part of that.
Yeah, he's saying that the laws are for food safety, but they're implemented through regulations.
So safety regulations, but basically you're saying 15 different agencies, 30 different laws,
Right.
And it sounds like a confusing smorgasbord to try to figure this out.
It is. And there used to be a food safety working group, but that's been abandoned. We've recommended Congress at least put that in statute so that group meets and coordinates. But this is an area, as I mentioned, since we've had it on our high-risk list, Senator, for 13 years.
And this would involve what, processing of food, like from farm or from, butchering all the way through to the grocery store?
Yeah, the labeling, everything.